Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Hotline League. It's going to be a great episode for all of you. So for the first hour, we're going to have our guest on. I'll introduce her in a moment, but we're going to be talking about Gamechangers, which is happening right now. And then in the second hour, we're going to be talking about world stuff because Mark and I, as we will explain shortly, the Hotline League is going to go on hiatus for a little bit, which is really unfortunate. But obviously, we'll be back in time for Worlds. But there's just going to be probably 2 weeks where we don't have episodes. But before we introduce our guest for the evening, Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. Still have not started my Worlds prep, which makes this awkwardly timed for a Worlds episode.
It was your suggestion to do Worlds this episode.
Well, it was indeed. It was my suggestion after we learned that our schedules do not line up at all over the next couple of weeks. I have family visiting. I think you have something going on, and then I have to actually cover Worlds at that point. So it's a little awkward, but whatever. We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Other than that, I beat Baldur's Gate 3. I did finished my first ending of Armored Core 6. Bought Starfield. Watching What We Do in the Shadows.
I'm watching that too. Did we talk about that? Did I say that?
No, this is random.
That's super
coincidental. Started watching it again. Yeah.
I had not seen it before, but I was getting served TikTok clips about it, so I dived in. Well, before we dive into your Baldur's Gate conversation, I'll introduce our guest so that she can join us in this conversation. Probably not, though, because I'm guessing she doesn't play Baldur's Gate. Avril is here. Avril, welcome to the show. How's it going?
It's going. Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you on. Do you play Baldur's Gate by any chance?
I don't, but all my friends have been asking me to play them with them, and it looks so fun. I'm just so broke right now.
you can come back after you've played it. Thanks for joining us.
Not a requirement as much as Mark probably thinks it should be. So I actually let me ask you, how do you introduce yourself to folks these days? Because I know you were a content creator under Cloud9, I think, for a bit. Now, obviously, you're competing in Gamechangers. So, how do you identify your role in the League of Legends ecosystem these days?
I like to say that I compete in League of Legends, and I am playing collegiate, so I'm a collegiate player.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's who I am. I'm in my dorm right now. I just moved in 3 weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Is it public what collegiate team you're playing for?
Yes, I go to Harrisburg University.
Fantastic. Whereabouts in what state is that in?
It's in Pennsylvania.
There we go. Okay. I don't know that corner. Mark knows that area of the.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, is that Pennsylvania? But I feel like there's a lot of Harrisburgs, and like everything on the East Coast, I feel like has a Harrisburg. I think Virginia has one. I could be wrong, but yeah. I have family from Lancaster area.
Well, and then you are currently competing in Gamechangers. What team do you play for?
I play for Astrocats. I'm the AD carry.
Fantastic. All right, so we're going to be talking about Gamechangers more in just a minute. I have to say, by the way, you might have the most fans of any pro player, or diehard fans of any pro player we've ever had on the show, because whenever we announced that you were going to be on here, we got some very fascinating tweets celebrating especially from your teammates. I think I've just responses and tweets that I have never seen when we've had a guest on the show before. So really excited to see your fans in the chat this week. Either way, so you're not playing Baldur's Gate. Do you watch What We Do in the Shadows, or have you played Starfield, or have you played Armored Core? Because those are all the topics Mark wants to talk about at the start of the Tonight Show.
I am so sorry.
Not a good start. Not a good start.
Not a single one.
Okay, well,
what do you do when not playing League, or are you just like turbo degen grind lord?
I like to play music and sing outside of League. That's probably my second biggest passion outside of League. But I do spend a lot of my time playing League. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
I mean, just the fact that you have any hobby besides League is an advantage over many of your fellow players. Because we have so many people on, and they're like, "I watch anime." That's like their hobby, is they watch anime, and it's good to hear that you have a creative endeavor. Okay, before we get back to you and we start talking about Game Changer stuff, Mark, give us the lowdown. We'll speed run this so that we can talk about Game Changer stuff. But
Yes.
you finished Baldur's Gate. No spoilers.
No
but
spoilers.
I saw you tweeted that you really liked it.
Yeah, I finished at clocking around 180 hours, probably a little lower, just because I probably idled a little bit with the game open. But my game time said 140 from in-game, but that's wrong because I like reload tons of encounters to like see all the dialogue options and stuff. I think it's one of my best gaming experiences ever. I think the thing it's lacking is like there's some game genres where like the first one that you experience in that genre will always be special to you. Like Elden Ring's better than Dark Souls, and I know that, but Dark Souls is better to me still. And like Divinity Original Sin 2, I would argue had higher highs, both narratively and with its like some of its combat designs. The game's pretty easy, honestly, even on Tactician for Baldur's Gate 3. So it's a much better game, hands down. The presentation value's cracked. Like it's a much more consistent experience. Like it's really good. I played after the patches for Act 3 came in, which fixed some of the problems. I really didn't see that many. I agree. Like maybe narratively, it would have been nice to see a little bit more at the end of the game. But like honestly, it's pretty nitpicky stuff after the patch in my mind, with how much other things there are in the game. So I think it's pretty fucking amazing, and everyone should try it.
So I was streaming what I thought was the end of Act 2 last night. I'd streamed like for 6 hours, I think, on Saturday. Because I was told, hey, whenever you're getting near the end of Act 2, like stream it. And I was like, I'm getting near the end of Act 2. And then I streamed for 6 hours. And then I was like, Twitch chat, am I near the end? And they're like, you're at the beginning of the end. So then I streamed for another 3 hours. I fought like the big old boss fight and all that stuff. And then I've been told that like technically it's still not over. But I am headed to a new area, which I think will begin Act 3.
Like,
so.
Yeah, the acts have like these little transition things, that you kind of do. So you're like probably in that transition part between 2 and 3.
Yes. So there's that. Mark and I have just discovered we've both been watching What We Do in the Shadows. And I'm on season 4, I think. I just started season 4. I've just been grinding that out while I build commander decks and get ready for Vegas this weekend, where I'm going to be at MagicCon. So if you're going to MagicCon in Vegas, give me a shout out. Say hello to me. Speaking of shout-outs, shout out to Alienware for sponsoring this episode. And now, let's return to our guest who just had to sit through us talking about other games that are not League of Legends. So, Avril, why don't you tell us a little bit about your career and experience so far in League of Legends esports?
I have been competing in League for about 3 years now. It's been a while. I first started competing during the first Gamechangers. That was 2 years ago, and it wasn't public. It was completely private, and it was an event that completely like inspired me to go to try to compete. Honestly, before that, I didn't have any like drive to do that.
That's cool. And so you've been doing this now for, as you said, 3 years. Maybe you can give us an update. I was talking to somebody today and reviewing sort of how things have been going, but how has Game Changers been so far? What point are we at? Because I know there's a big weekend coming up for you.
Oh yeah, so we've played, I think, 3 weeks of exhibition matches. So that was overall 6 games every Saturday, and in a couple days, everyone is going to fly out to LA, and we're going to have a huge tournament at the Riot Studio at LA on the next Saturday, I believe so. And it's going to be a live event. There's going to be a live crowd, and we're going to play on stage. And I'm so excited because I've never played on a LAN before.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be super cool to see all of that. I mean, the studio itself, like whenever you walk in and you get to go on stage, it's such a cool space. So excited to see you do that soon. For folks that are watching, love to get some takes in the pleb topics or subtopics chat. In fact, Mark, since we probably have some Avril fans, did you want to kind of give the spiel on how this stuff works for those who have not been here before?
For you fake fans, if you've never been here before, this is actually a live call-in show, so you can go ahead and go to this Discord, which I'm spamming in Twitch chat. Once you're there,
it's also just discord.gg/Travis.
Yeah, well, that's like not what the link gives me in Discord when I click it, so that's not the one I post. When you get here, go ahead and join the Pleb Calls voice channel or Sub Calls voice channel. That's where you'll be hanging out, so I can pull you later. But it's the pleb topics and subtopics text channels up above where you will put your takes, whatever it is that you want to talk about. Go ahead and at Travis or I think Travis will be helping pull topics tonight. He said he would. Maybe he's a liar.
I've already pulled one.
Oh, look at you. So yeah, go ahead and at both of us. And then, assuming that we like your take, we'll pull you from the calls room where you hang out to the waiting room, where that's where you will wait till it's your turn to do it. Then we'll do a quick mic check. I can still do the mic checks, I guess, Travis. Then we'll do a mic check, make sure you sound good. Then you'll be on air to talk with Avril and us about whatever Game Changers stuff.
And if you are a sub, first off, thank you for being a sub. If you aren't a sub, it's September, baby. You can get cheaper subs right now. But also sync your Discord and your Twitch so that you can drop your takes in the subtopics chat, which moves a little slower. And it's no guarantee if you drop something in there, but yeah. I am seeing some takes that are about worlds and all that stuff. We'll be looking to pull those takes in the second half of the show. But as we have Avril on right now, I think we're going to be focusing more on Game Changers, collegiate esports, all that type of stuff. So if you can put your take into pleb topics or subtopics chat, I will look for those, and then maybe I'll let Mark handle the world stuff as we get closer to it.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'll probably do a swap. So only put the Game Changers related takes or Avril related takes at the beginning. And then once we say goodbye to her, then we'll pull in the next round and we'll do the spiel again or something.
Yep, very good. All right, Mark, while I'm pulling takes, do you want to, I don't know if you have any questions for Avril while we fill things in? How's your team doing, Avril? That's a question. Mark was floundering. So how's your team doing so far?
We are doing great. We're in first place right now, and I love everyone on my team, and they're also supportive and in such a nice environment and uplifting. And I'm really confident in my team, honestly.
Awesome. Well,
do you want me to go? I saw you pull Max Strixon first, then Rudy, then Rex. You want me to start doing audio checks?
Yeah, I think you can do that. Rudy needs to actually. Maybe we go with Rudy first, and then Max, because Max has a bit of a negative take, and we'll start on a positive note. All right, so off Mark goes to grab Rudy. Thank you to Bo and Chug for the 1,000 bits, Promiscuous Time Traveler for the Prime, Anthillium for the Prime, and Stizzle Swick for the Prime. Thank you, everybody, for the subs. We got Rudy here. Rudy, where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm calling from New Jersey.
New Jersey. And what do you want to talk about on the show?
Yeah, so...
you're a little quiet. I have you at 200%, but if you can get a little closer to the mic, that would be great. No, you're good.
Speaking off mic. So I wanted to talk to Avril, because hearing that she's part of Harrisburg and their HU Storm team, I would love to hear her experience so far with it and her decision to pursue collegiate esports, since she's also doing secondary education. Is that something that she considered, or is it just so happened that because she's doing college, she might as well, because she's also a very high elo player?
Oh, thank you for the question. Nice to meet you. Actually, I decided I didn't go to college. I'm 22. I didn't go to college at 18. I decided to pursue competing and content creation at first. But ever since I parted ways with Cloud9, I wanted to have a more stable way to, go about competing, because just sitting at my house and just playing games, hoping I go pro, is very unhealthy, and it was very unhealthy for me. So I decided to do collegiate, and I think it's been very I've been welcomed with open arms in the collegiate community, which I was very shocked by, because there aren't really many girls in this space, and my coach and my teammates have all been so kind and accepting and just graciously letting me enter their space. And I love it so far.
That's super cool. Yeah, I mean, I was going to, kind of back to Rudy's question is, where do you think aspiring pros should go? Because I think there are a lot of people who, they're like, oh, I'm going to skip college. It sounds like that's kind of what you were doing in the beginning. And then, but I do think, obviously, over time, we've seen a lot of colleges build up their programs. Unfortunately, maybe there's been some erosion of support from LCS teams on the challenger and development side, especially this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, what do you think ultimately around sort of aspiring pros and their decision on where they want to go or how they want to approach it?
That was actually the biggest trigger for me that made me decide to go into collegiate. Ever since the fall of NACL and everything, like, and the clear lack of support for amateur, and it made me like weigh the ups and downs way more, and like decide to have like a more stable and healthy way. But I can't speak for anybody else, because that totally be another pipeline for someone to just stay at home and really hard grind every day. Like that could be for some people. It just wasn't for me. And yeah.
On that point about like other paths, 'cause I think the like simplest one, like you said, is like, oh, I'm top 10 and like I'm in games with pros and I'm able to like, rub elbows and get to like add them on friends list, and then you get a tryout or something like that. But with Academy gone, that's a lot less of a way to interface, because a lot of times like you'd be in the same team with them or something. Is there any other like supplemental like amateur tournaments, and how does that work with collegiate? Like if you are playing for Harrisburg, but you can also do Gamechangers, and if there's like some other event that crops up, are you able to easily enroll with that? Or is it kind of like the LCS where it's like you go to the you do LCS and that's it? Or, like you do collegiate and that's it. You can't do other tournaments in season.
Actually, something I just discovered I didn't know until a couple weeks ago. There are like a plethora of tournaments that our team, like our collegiate team, like competes in. Like we just did Hugh Fest, and we're trying to qualify for Route 66, and there's many other tournaments that like supplement like the growth of our skills as a team, and just being able to support ourselves, because like obviously like these tournaments are like for money, and people need money.
Very true.
What?
Tell that to LCS team owners. So yes, I think it's cool to hear that there are a lot of other programs that work that way, and that are available to all of you. So yeah, Rudy, I don't know if you have any follow-up questions or if you feel like there's anything else you want to touch on with your take.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've talked to your other teammates about this, because I know HU also has a Rocket League team. But like, Valorant and League, which HU both have teams of, they're very huge esports just in general, and even still in NA, even though we like to meme that one of them is dying. But even more so, Rocket League is smaller than League, even by a huge margin. So like, I was wondering if you would be able to share any experiences that like if you've been able to talk to them, other teammates, of like their experience of like why they decided to pursue collegiate esports rather than going pro.
Oh yeah, I would love to. Actually, I know I live in a dorm, like in a dorm building with the Rocket League team and the Valorant team. I actually think they're all so cool. I'm friends with most of them. And a lot of the reasons why people came to collegiate is because it's like some select schools provide full tuition for free if we compete for their school's teams, and that's like the biggest like thing that drives people to do collegiate. Especially in this school. This school covers my tuition completely. The only thing I have to pay for is my dorm, and that's discounted. So that's why it's a really really good route for the people that it's good for.
So did I hear that right? They put all the esports athletes in the same dorm?
For this specific school, yeah, it's called it's the esports dorm.
That's so cool, actually.
I know.
It's like a college gaming house, but like done by the college. I had not heard of that before. I wonder if there are other universities that do it as well. But I assume how does that help you? Because obviously there's always a lot of discussion about pros wanting to be in the same house or in at least the same office, or have apartments that are in the same building or facility or something like that. So like, what has it been like living with all the other esports pros at that college?
Really great, like having like a bunch of friends that like already have a mutual understanding of the world that like we live in, like because like we all like are on our computers all day, and it's kind of hard to relate to like some people that have different hobbies, because we're all so involved in this world that it's really nice to have like a safe space and just like people around you to understand how your mind works and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That's super cool. Hey, Rudy, any shout outs or any plugs you want to put here at the end?
Yeah, thanks, Avril, for coming on. I really appreciate your insight.
Oh.
And TY, Travis, and Mark for having the show.
Yeah. Thanks so much. We'll catch you next time.
See y'all.
I also wanted to say it was so cool because I was like 15, like watching Video Game High School, and I was like, oh my god, I wish that was my life. And now it really is.
Video Game College, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, you want to go grab Max?
Yeah.
Okay. Off Mark goes. Thank you to Pentaflight for the 13 months, and I'm Hay for the Prime as well. Mark's grabbing Max. For those that are not familiar with Gamechangers, so Gamechangers is a program that Riot's been doing for several years now. This year, I think they're doing it a little differently, but the program is has their mission of opening, this is from their site, opening more opportunities for women and marginalized genders in League of Legends esports. This is specifically LCS Gamechangers. So it looks like this is the third season, so I guess it started in 2020. I was trying to remember. It all kind of blurs together during the COVID years. But yeah, this is something really cool. So if folks want to check it out, there's actually, I know Numi gave a shout out to it last week on the show, but the in-person event is happening this weekend in Los Angeles. So you can go out and check it out there. Okay, so it looks like we have Max here.
Wait, before
yes.
we introduce Max, I have to confess, despite knowing Jimmy Wong decently well, I've never watched VGHS, and Twitch chat's popping off about it right now. And I feel like I need to hand in my nerd card because I never watched it.
I see you so differently.
Do you know what? Yeah, exactly. Now you've disappointed Avril. This is just the episode where
I mean, I had to own up to it.
Yeah. I watch some stuff that Jimmy Wong does now, but it's not Video Game High School. Okay.
I watched Dragon Prince. Or not Dragon. Was it Dragon Prince?
Are you talking about Mulan?
No, he was in Mulan too. I did watch Mulan.
He was in Mulan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy. Who was he?
Not Dragon Prince. Fuck. What is the dragon one?
I don't know. Twitch chat can figure that out. Okay.
The movie.
So Max, speaking of Magic the Gathering,
Which dragon?
That one.
I played Magic the Gathering with Max a couple weeks ago at LCS Finals, and here he is now. Max, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Philadelphia.
From Philadelphia. There you go. Can you speak again? Sorry, I turned you up 100%, but you're still kind of soft.
Philadelphia, yeah.
That's much better. Okay, great. And what do you want to talk about on the show?
All right, my take is that Gamechangers feels like a very underdeveloped event, especially compared to its Valorant counterpart. For an event in its third year, it feels underdeveloped in terms of like advertising, in terms of scope, planning, pretty much in every way.
So I'm glad that you put this take in because it's something I've been feeling a lot lately, and I think I even referenced it maybe on last week's Hotline League. So I can be the super negative one if Avril decides that she wants to be more positive about it. But I've like looking. I went to the Val Media Day, and the amount of stuff that they talked about for what they're doing in Gamechangers and Val is just like on a completely other level than what is happening on the LCS Gamechangers. And it's, this is not the first time recently where I've been a little envious of Valorant and how Riot's treating it compared to League of Legends.
Same.
And so, yeah, I think it's a little bit of a bummer. I mean, part of the reason why I thought it was probably a good idea to have Avril on and talk about Gamechangers is because of how little attention I think it's been getting. And I like this as a program a lot. In fact, I had talked to Riot privately in 2019 about how I was kind of disappointed that they didn't have something like this going. So it's this kind of weird mixed feeling of being happy that this program exists, but also being a little disappointed in the level of investment that Riot's been making into it. So I agree with you a lot here, Max, but I don't know, Avril, I know obviously you're participating, so I don't know how much you want to throw shade at it, but I'm curious what your take is, especially when you look at what's going on in Val.
Oh, no. A lot of the people head of the programs are totally open to criticism. That's the best part of them. And for the past 2 years, everybody has been like giving their feedback on how we wanted this event to be ran. At first, the runners really wanted this to be a private event. But a lot of us pushed for it to be more, public and more competitive. and like they actually took our advice and like actually placed it into action. So I'm very comfortable criticizing it. Although I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity, there's always things that can like happen better. And honestly, I just think that like Riot is very clearly just showing a bias towards Valorant because it's more new or shinier, and it's a new game. It's doing like more numbers and like pulling in more money than League right now, and that's probably the biggest reason why.
Yeah.
Travis, for us uncultured swine who don't pay much attention to things that aren't Baldur's Gate, can you explain some of the things that you think the Valorant Game Changers has better, or like that makes it a more successful event in your eyes, or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, Game Changers this year is being in the LCS is being handled by Sidog, I believe is how you pronounce it, or Sido. This is the Parth sort of consulting company. They are here. I'll read what it says on their website. The Law Esports website. We're excited to work with Sido, an esports research group and consultancy that shares our vision for an equitable, diverse, and healthy esports environment. Sido will be our operations and programming partner for Game Changers 2023 as we work together to create more opportunities for those who have been traditionally overlooked. So while I appreciate that Riot is, and I respect Parth, and so I think it's cool that they're working with Parth on this, like, you can tell it feels in some ways like Riot is just like handing this off to like a third party, a little similar to what's happened with NACL this year. Whereas when you look at Game Changers in Val, it is, to my understanding, very directly done through Riot Games, and it's a far more fleshed out program. In fact, I'd love, Avril, if you're familiar, to kind of have you explain a little bit about how the differences that you see between the two. But one of the biggest things I notice is like they, in their like Valorant Champions Media Day, they frequently featured shots and images and Game Changers alongside shots and images from their other major events in Val. And so it definitely felt like, even if unfortunately it doesn't have like the same level of notoriety and I don't know, financial investment and stuff like that as the rest of the Val stuff, it definitely feels like it's not a program that they're doing that. I mean, to be candid, like I'm torn because Game Changers I think is really cool, but I also sometimes look at it and feel like they're checking the box. They're like, okay, Sido, go do this, and we'll give you the money because we need to do this in League because we're doing something in Val. So I don't know. What are some of the things that you see in Val, Avril, that you would love to see on the LCS side?
Definitely, like there are way more teams in Game Changers. For Valorant, I think there was like, I'm not even sure, like more than 10 competing. But the thing is that's the thing. A lot of the problems that are like very clear and like differences, like stark differences between League and Valorant is just because of the player base. There's literally like just straight up less women that are high elo in League. Like a lot of less women like play League openly, I guess. I mean, I don't know if that's like correct. I'm sorry. But like in Valorant, like it's a way more accepting community towards women and marginalized genders, I've noticed. For being a woman in the League of Legends community is kind of really bad, and it drives a lot of women away. That's the biggest thing. I mean, the time that they tried to bring out like women in League, like with Team Sirens and like Team Invictus, like it's just like these events and like these dramas and have like traumatized people from like ever trying to go pro or even like making a name for themselves in the League community if you are a woman or a marginalized gender. I mean, it's definitely affected me as well. Like I've many times have like shied away from the community solely because of how I'm treated because of my gender.
And so, I mean, I believe what you're saying just because I feel like anecdotally it does seem as though the Valorant player base is more diverse, and especially at the top end, that is the case, which I think is disappointing. And I do wonder how much, as you've pointed out, you know, the experiences of people in the League space, and how negative it can be, maybe have pushed women and marginalized genders away from competition in League or being more public or out there about, you know, competing and playing and all that stuff. So I definitely see that. I think, you know, to kind of return to the topic of how big it is. Like it's just in Val, their Game Changers program is global too, as Rudy's pointing out. So it really is part of like you get to compete and then you get to go up to championships, and it's just a little different than like, again, what I'm happy exists in League right now, but it's a lot more than sort of the show matches that are being played on the LCS side. So I agree with that.
I was going to ask about that because like they have regional of these Game Changers series that ladder into the like global Game Changers finale kind of thing, and the prize pool. I was trying to look at the LCS Game Changers one. I don't know if they've just not put it on the wiki page, or if it's not doesn't exist, or
is there a
what
prize pool
on.
for the LCS Game Changers, Avril?
I don't think so.
I mean, I feel like you would know. So if you don't know, then
yeah. Whereas like just in the laddering series, you know, the first place Cloud9 White apparently got 20,000, and then like the finale, world finales for the Game Changers Championship had up to 500,000 spread across all the teams, of course, you know, but there was like 8 teams there, so like, I think the winner took over 100,000 home or something. So you know, like, how much of it do you think is, of course, you talk about the differences in demographics, but also just like Riot's own resources being put into it? Do you think that is causing the scale differences? You know, like if Riot, like, is there more women and marginalized genders available in the upper echelons of ELO who are ready to step up and actually play if Riot made a more expansive system? Or do you think this is like, unfortunately, what the current state of League can handle?
I mean, definitely if there was more money in this program, like this would be much bigger program. It's just very clear where Riot obviously has a budget, and they just very clearly want to spend it more on Valorant. Like the difference is stark, and I want to clarify, like, although like I have many criticisms, I'm still extremely grateful for the opportunity, because everyone, oh wait, you know what? Everyone is getting paid to compete. We are all getting $1,000. I don't think there's a prize pool for winning, but everyone is getting paid to compete in general. And we're getting a flight to LA, and we're getting like hotel and food and Ubers, and like that whole weekend that we are going to compete is all paid for. So that is already like an opportunity that like I'm extremely grateful for, and I don't want to like completely tear this event down, because I would never have had this opportunity without Game Changers. If that makes sense.
Yeah. From the website, it does say all participants will receive a small stipend as well as training and mentorship from industry professionals. And that's what I keep saying too. Is it's just like, it's really hard, because it's like, I'm so happy Riot is doing this, and I feel like it took them way too long to do it. But also, you look at what they're doing in Val, and you're just like, what the hell? So it's this kind of weird catch-22 situation.
Well, I think it's good at least to spotlight the discrepancy, because it's like, okay, in NA we have 3 teams who are, you know, being taken care of in their pursuit of this, but not like really winning anything as prestigious as the prize pool, as well as like the fact that it's a global event for the Valorant side, being like, hey, can we get a little bit more love here for our scene? You know, I think is a fair thing to kind of spotlight.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Sorry. I definitely do think if we had more bandwidth, I think we had enough players for at least 6 teams. Definitely. There were many girls that applied, but only 15 were there. But I think we definitely had enough players in general to have at least 6 teams, which is already a big difference in the competition and like the viewership. Like, more people are going to be interested in like 6 teams competing like head to head than 3.
And 2 questions for you before I throw it back to Max for a shout out or anything. But one, I know that obviously the Game Changers teams are being somewhat connected or sponsored to LCS teams. So I think yours is Team Liquid, right?
Yeah, correct.
And then there's Golden Guardians for another one. And then what's the third team?
NRG.
NRG.
Yeah.
So what has that experience been like for you, and what do you think of the involvement of the LCS teams? I don't know how much they've been involved, or maybe you can kind of speak to it.
Besides like letting us use their training facilities, and like having some content like to promote the thing, there wasn't too much involvement. But then again, like being able to use our training facilities when we're going to be there scrimming like every day and competing, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a weird. I don't know why they picked these 3 teams, given that they are also going to Worlds. So I
They
assume
might
that,
be
like,
the 3 teams that were down to do it.
well, yeah, I'm not bagging on these 3 teams. I'm saying, like, I don't know why this, because it would be more obvious that, like, hey, the teams that didn't make it, who have those players around, can interface better. I don't blame, these orgs for not having core JJ available or something, to like talk with you, because it's like, yeah, he's busy going to Korea and getting ready. So I think that's definitely something where, maybe these are the 3 teams and they deserve a head tap for stepping up to do it, or it's just like it would be nice in terms of the mentorship angle to have players and coaches more readily available.
Well, and not to put you on the spot, but like it does say that you all get mentorship, but it doesn't sound like there's much mentorship occurring in the program so far.
We do have access to a coach. We have like a bunch of pro coaches that they pay to coach us. Like they have stipend us like 2 coaching sessions per player a week.
Oh, that's
from
cool.
Whatever coach you wanted. Yeah, so they're that's the best part of this. Like even last year, like the mentorship and like learning, I learned so much. I got so much better. Like every Gamechangers, like, and it's been like 2 weeks. Every year it's like 2 weeks until like this year it was like a month and a half, I think. But that was the best part they did, like making sure like the goal was to like actually like have a pro player one day, like a female pro player, and like having like giving people the resources to have that. I think even though the mission statement does say to uplift, I think the real goal, it seems like, is like to have like a pro player, like another female pro player spawn out of this event.
Yeah.
Which I think is a pretty respectable goal.
Yeah. No, that's cool. All right. So the last question on this call from me is just, Avril, if you could redesign LCS Gamechangers for your ideal situation. You said you think that you could do 6 teams. Mm-hmm. So what else would you like to see out of it?
Ooh. Well, the off season was managed pretty awfully, I won't lie. They decided themselves like on just their opinions on who is the best player, like top 9 players, and then they based on those top like 3 players, like they get assigned a team, and then we as a team had to recruit people on our own accord. I really think that has caused a lot of problems because players have been paired with other players that really don't mesh along together personality-wise. I think that's something that's very overlooked. That has been a big problem in like a lot of our teams, like not just mine. And I really think that going into the off season, we should have been able to formulate our own teams on our own accord. Like being able to play with your friends, like, is the biggest thing, because a lot of this event has been like having to go through upper management and deciding like who is going to be on our team, which it really shouldn't be that. Like I wanted to spend more time playing the game, but I had to deal with logistics and stuff and like making sure all the teammates like didn't hate each other, and like I didn't feel like that was a good use of our time.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, I think, really good feedback. So, and then would you see, because right now they're like best of 2 show matches. I feel like people really don't like best of 2s. But so I guess what would you like to see in terms of like format and their kind of show matches? Would you like to see some sort of tournament style thing? Like how would you like to see the structure of the event handled?
I think best of 2s was a pretty bad idea. I think best of 3s at least. I think we definitely maybe had the bandwidth to have a game on Saturday and a game on Sunday instead of all the games on Saturday, and it could have been a best of 5 even every weekend, and maybe like have more incentive to win every weekend, because maybe like have a small prize pool to like for like every weekend, like leading up to the main event, so that people have even more motivation to like really grind hard. And I mean, for the LA trip, obviously, like having a prize pool for the finals would have been very good. But I mean, it's just budget problems. I can't really fix that. And besides that, I do. Mm, I can't really think of anything else more. There are a lot of changes I would make, but right now it's not coming to my head.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to put you on the spot and be like, I guess it's a little unfair of me to be like, fix everything. But it's just great to get feedback from somebody who's a part of it to sort of understand where Riot could do better, because I think people like myself and Mark and others try to, I don't know, hold Riot accountable is maybe too dramatic of a thing, but it's like we do want the system to be better, and I think this is an area where sometimes it's hard for us to. We can be a little blinded on where the issues are. So I think that's good. Max, I know we've just kind of kept you on the line for a while, but any thoughts on this before I give you your shout out?
No, I think you guys touched on pretty much everything that I was thinking about.
All right, very good. Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, 3 quick things. First, shout out to Alienware. We love Alienware. For Twitch chat, I want to shout out the charitable organization of your choice. You know, if you got a little bit of extra cash, consider making a donation. A lot of organizations could use it right now. And I just want to shout out Avril. You're one of my favorite League streamers, so really glad to see you on the show.
Oh, thank you. So sweet.
Thanks so much, Max, for calling in, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks.
All right, we have.
I'm going to shout out the actual team branding for Gamechangers. Astrocats, Serenity, and Arcana. Different vibes than what most like. We're gaming energy. We're counter logic gaming. We're like I appreciate that there's other vibes you can go for than just like we're fucking cool gamers.
Yeah, I think that was the coolest part of this whole event. Honestly, like we as a collective, we got to decide our own branding. Like we had like a designer that got assigned to us, and we got to like as a team decide our branding. It wasn't just like placed upon us, and that was really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that there's like a dark academia, a magical. I could be wrong. This is me putting my own thoughts on it, but like the dark academia, a magical girl one, and I'm not sure what the flower girl energy vibe is, but like it at least like is a different thing than just again gamer.
Exactly, esports pose.
Yeah.
Can you maybe give me a story about how you all landed on Astrocats?
We all love cats.
All right, this is a tough subject.
Point. It's not for Travis.
It's a tough subject for this show. Cats are a controversial topic on this show, but glad to hear. And then, do you like space as well, or how did the Astro come into play?
Yes, we made like a vision board of like what colors we wanted, and it all gravitated toward like this like pastel galaxy nebula stars. I don't know how that came about, but like we all liked it, so we just went with it, and we also all have like cats pretty much. So like Astrocats, astronauts, Astrocats. I think it should have been Astrocots, but that then would have been not as catchy. But
it's always a struggle coming up with.
Well, I would say at least even the vision boarding process is maybe more than most teams seem to do. I don't know, but yeah. I would love more teams to go for that angle of like let's just throw all of our vibes on a wall and then pick some to make.
Well, and the other thing that's funny is it's kind of giving it in only in the best ways the sort of disguised or the toast art of it. Like I love the art that you all have, and I was going to ask, can you give me one last thing on it? As I'm pulling this up, I'm stalling for time. Can you tell me a little bit about how this came into creation in particular? Because obviously you all have a cat, but what is your cat up to, and how did you iterate on this with the designer at all?
Yes, so we actually commissioned Basil Leaf, if you know her.
I do, yes.
She's a Flying Quest. Yeah, she did all our cats. And my favorite champion is Avril, and my favorite skin, I cannot play Avril without the skin. Frosted Avril. It's so clean and it's so crisp and it makes everything so smooth. So that's just Frosted Avril shooting his little Q. Or maybe I'll.
Fantastic. I wish more teams had stuff like LCS teams should have little, I don't know, dog pictures of their team or something like that. But maybe it would not make sense to invest into those because they'd have to rotate the player out really quickly. All right. Mark, do you want to go grab the next caller?
Yep.
All right. Shout out to Kanoke for the 42 months, Dark Alley HT for the 18, and Jeb911 for the Prime. Again, thanks, Avril, for coming on the show. It's been great to have you here. We're going into our last caller, rexFC. How do you pronounce your name, caller?
rexFC.
rexFC. Where are you calling from?
Sunny San Diego, California.
San Diego. We love San Diego. What do you want to talk about on the show?
Yeah, I would say so. With certain demographics being heavily represented in the LCS, what do you guys think Riot can do to get more minoritized communities involved with the LCS and NA?
Yeah, so I think just generally the idea is like, hey, people really like what's going on with Gamechangers, even if we feel like it's not there yet. But how can we continue to increase diversity from all sorts of communities within the LCS? So. Mark, I don't know if... Oh, go ahead. Rex? Or you were just saying you agree?
I agree, yes.
Fantastic. Mark, I don't know, have you spent much time thinking about this over the years? Because it's something I've considered, but it's always kind of hard where it kind of feels sometimes like a chicken and the egg situation where you really need to figure out how to reach out to different communities on these topics.
I think... I mean, we've talked about it before. I'm definitely in the have exclusive tournaments that create safer feeling, more comfy environments for people to experience the highs of competition in. I feel like competition can bring out the best and the worst in people, and giving safer areas to bring out the best is good. And I know there's always been a hot topic in gaming communities about what they would call segregated tournaments, if you will, or exclusive, or whatever you want to call it. But I think there is a lot of value there in supporting those and, nurturing people's interest in the games. I've talked about, Avril was talking about people who have really negative experiences and then just say, fuck it, I'm out. And it takes a really special kind of person to have a really negative experience instead of fuck it, I'm out, to go, fuck you, I'm going to prove you wrong. That's a really hard thing to ask women and marginalized genders have to go through in what should be an enjoyable experience. So I think having those kinds of places where they can go pro and making it, or not pro, but go compete and go to a LAN event and have a small crowd that they are performing in front of or whatever can really inspire people. And even the point that you made about making sure that they're playing with people they like playing with, making sure it is still an enjoyable experience, removing some of those potential headaches, I think is more important than the prize pooling and those kinds of things, because at the end of the day, while it will help people going through college or whatever, any bit can help for sure. I think in terms of long-term impact, the more important thing is that it is expansive in the sense that I could be wrong, but my opinion would be I would rather have those 6 teams that Avril says we can fill out right now than another $10,000 to the winning team or something. If that was the dichotomy I'm balancing there, I would rather just have more and be more inclusive than increase the reward. That would kind of be my thoughts, would be let's get the scale of this bigger rather than the...
You say that, but Avril might disagree considering their team is favored to win.
She might want a bigger paycheck.
Yeah, she's $10,000 prize pool. We're going to win this shit this weekend. I'm down for that. Let's do that.
Actually, I do disagree, but not even in the selfish way, oh, I just want more money. I've had a lot of the players here. I'm a bit more less financially strained, so it isn't the biggest concern for me. But a lot of the players just can't put this much time into competing when they can't make a living out of it. I've had many talks with the competitors, my friends, that they've literally had to stop trying because their parents are what are you doing with your life? You're spending your whole time you're not going to college, you're just playing video games. We need they need proof that this thing is actually something that can lead somewhere. And that was the biggest thing that stopped one of my friends from keep competing. And they're competing again because of this event, because they're actually getting supported. And that was the biggest thing that opened my eyes how important support is in that way.
And do you think it's better to have it as a prize pool, or do you think it's better to have it as a stipend? Because if it's literally hey, this is guaranteed if I compete in this, that feels pretty good. I mean, it's the age-old question. This happens all the time in LCS and other places where people are like, "Oh, the prize pool should be bigger." Well, it's like, no, actually, we just want to give them salaries versus all that. So, what's kind of your take there on where would be most helpful?
I have not really thought about that, honestly. I haven't, and I don't want to say something that I don't really have like my concrete opinion on.
Wow. That's a first for one of our guests on the show, because everybody just forces opinions even if they don't have one.
Well,
so it's very
I'll force
smart of you.
I think
See, Mark will do it.
yeah, why not? I'm speaking as a well-informed individual, obviously, in this situation. No, I mean, I think the point about like making sure that there's a baseline that you're hitting so that people can compete, to Avril's point, is really important. So that way you're not like cutting off people who would be interested if they had the means to actually pursue it. Is getting rid of that. I think like getting rid of the hurdles is the biggest thing you want to do. Like, okay, if there's a social hurdle, get rid of that. If there's a financial hurdle, try and get rid of that. Like get rid of all the hurdles you can. But I also do think that there is value in incentivizing top end and like the competition and giving your all. And like, competition can kind of do that on its own. But there was a academy player I was talking to recently who said a similar thing where they were like, I would rather not get 100K, or like they were arguing that it would be better for them to not get 100K to like sit in academy all year and instead get like 30 or 40 so that their baseline needs are kind of met to like pursue this full time or something, not living in Los Angeles, living at another situation where it's, more affordable or whatever. But then having the prize pool of academy be a lot bigger, or tier 2 be a lot bigger. And that way it's more about chasing your dreams of like winning big and popping off and all that stuff rather than like surviving at the minimum. And obviously that's a scale difference between that and Gamechangers. Like, 30K is still like a ton compared to what Gamechangers is getting. So like there's degrees to it, but I think that there is a truth to like giving something aspirational, like winning and getting a big check. I imagine just feels cool and like it's something that you want to do.
Yeah. I think that's fair, Mark. Back to kind of Rex's question though. Avril, do you have any opinions on sort of what Riot could do, or what even like the League of Legends community as a whole could do to try to help marginalized communities and folks who want to get into the space or do more, but face barriers?
I think slamming down on certain events that happen that like hate crimes or discriminatory speeches, I feel like Riot does not do a good job at slamming down and like punishing this behavior and making sure it's very clear that this behavior is not acceptable in the community. I don't think they do a good job at that. Also, something that Overwatch does very well that League doesn't do is having representation built into the game. There are so many LGBT people, characters in Overwatch. And that's why this game is so gay friendly, and like a lot of gay people and marginalized genders and women love this game. That there's nothing like that in League. Whenever there's like something like people are like maybe this the character is LGBT, they like try their best to like cover it up and like pretend everybody in this game is either cis, straight, white, male, or like whatever. Like there's no gay people like truly represented in League of Legends, and I think that would be a big step to helping gay people and women and marginalized genders like actually want to like be in the space.
No, I really appreciate that. I think that's really well said.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I sell you on a little game called Baldur's Gate, which is hella gay?
Okay. All right, Mark, maybe we don't take this opportunity for you to promote a game you've been enjoying lately. Avril, what I know you talked a little bit about on the Riot side, but for people, and maybe we can use this as a bit of a means to wind down our conversations we had in the second part of the show. But all right, there's going to be people who listen to the show, who watch it, or whatever, and they really appreciate the idea of trying to increase diversity and making more inclusive spaces, especially on the competitive side. What can people do, in your opinion, to better support these initiatives and the people who are taking part in them?
Go watch these events. Like go watch Gamechangers. Like just even turning on the stream and having Riot see like that people are interested in like women competing. That is literally the best thing you can do right now. If tomorrow, like not tomorrow, on Saturday, like you can just go on the LCS stream and like literally watch it. Like you don't even have to like, you can be eating dinner while watching the games. Like that is already so much help to help Riot see that hey, this is actually something worth putting money and investing into it.
Very good. No, I really appreciate it. So, hey, Rex, any final thoughts or questions or any shout outs you want to make before we say goodbye?
Yeah, shout out to you guys for doing the show. I've been listening for a few years. I've been playing League since like it came out, so I'm pretty old. And
aren't we
shout
all?
out to my yeah. It's not a fun time watching Valorant kind of like take over, and we're just kind of like slowly watching the game that we left die. But yeah,
Oh man.
shout out to you guys, and shout out to my cat Paco. Cats are great, the best pets ever. And
Real.
yeah, just good stuff. Have a good one, guys.
Very good. Have a good one. Thanks so much. All right, Avril, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I know we kind of gave you the floor just now to talk a little bit about what you'd like to see, but anything else or anybody you'd like to shout out here before we say goodbye?
I would love to shout out. I would love to shout out my mom, my best friends, Shani and Charlie, and all my Gamechangers teammates, the staff. Anna, you are the best. Aria, you're such a good coach, and just everybody hosting Gamechangers. Like, even though I did say I had a lot of criticisms, at the end of the day, this is so much progress being made this year, and I'm so eternally grateful. And yeah.
And where can members of the Hotline League audience find you, give you support, and follow you?
I sometimes, not really anymore, stream on Twitch TV/Avril. My Twitter is really where I am active the most. It's Mayfair with 2 E's. One's is above me, it's right above my head.
Yeah, we have podcast listeners, so I'll spell it out for them. We have Mayffaree if you want to find Avril on Twitter. Very good. And then the team, I see Numi in chat shouting out the team Twitter. It's Astrocats GC if you want to go follow Astrocats on Twitter and shout them out. Is the team just gone now after this weekend? Is that Twitter and all this wonderful branding going away? Avril?
Sorry, I just zoned out.
Yeah, you're good. I was just saying, is the team going to go away after this weekend? Is the branding and all that gone?
Yeah, it will. We won't be competing anymore together.
Sad. Well,
I know.
All those wonderful cat avatars are going to go away. All right. Thank you, Avril, for coming on. I really do appreciate you making time to do this. And yeah, everyone check out Gamechangers this weekend. So thank you very much. And now we'll just we're going to do this awkward transition now where we transition over the next part of the show. But Avril, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you for
out.
having me. It was so nice to meet you both.
Yeah. Have a good one. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So let me make changes on the overlay. And I will adjust the title. But yeah, Mark. Hello. We're now transitioning over to the next part of the show. What interesting news, anything has happened in the League of Legends esports world this past week, Mark?
So I got distracted by Twitch chat, which we're still talking about some of the things that we were doing. Right before getting into that, I will say, people are like, I don't get why representation matters, this or that. And even for people who might be gay, they say they don't care or whatever. That's okay if you don't. For some people, they do care. And that's the point. For the people who do care, they want that.
Yeah.
You don't need to get it is one of the like life-changing things that I realized at some point in my life where it's like, yeah, I don't need to get it. It's not for me. You know,
Mark,
like
I don't understand the value of having these things that are not like me, because they're not like me. So like, why should they be around?
Well,
you know,
even for people, it is like them. Like you can be a gay person and not care about seeing gay people in media, and like whatever. If that's your opinion, fine. But there are other people who do care, and they can have that opinion. Like, it doesn't need to be everything for you. It can be for them.
Yeah. No, I think that's a very, very well said. Thank you for shouting it out. So, and again, thank you to Avril for coming on the show. I think it's really cool. I was obviously throwing to Mark, trying to get him to fill while I was adjusting title and all that stuff. But I think it was really cool to have Avril on, and I'm excited to that we can use Hotline League as a means to maybe get a little bit more of words out about Game Changers. So thanks again, Avril, for coming on. Hopefully Riot expands the program because
I hadn't looked at the two wikis, before, but when you look at the two wikis side to side, you're just like,
the Valorant Game Changers versus the LCS one. Yeah, it was funny because I was like, oh yeah, there's these show matches, and I was like, okay, so like, I was like, okay, so they all play each other, and there's a bit of a tournament thing, and I was like, so it sounds like there must be like 4 teams, right? Because then that's how you do like a tournament. Nope, there's only 3. It's just very. It feels it. Look, I don't want to diminish. There are, I'm sure, hardworking people that are trying to make this program a success and care a lot about it at Riot. I want to be clear about that. I'm not trying to throw those people under the bus because I'm sure there's a ton of people that are putting a lot of work to try to make this work, and they like it and they want to be passionate and care about it. That being said, I feel like those people need more resources and they should be empowered to do more with this program because when you hear there's 3 teams in it, it sounds like the type of thing where they're like, oh, we can't just do 2 teams, right? That sounds really bad. What if we just did 3 teams then? Oh, it's time for the cats to get fed.
Yeah, they sprinted in the room.
Yeah. It's so, I don't know. You know what it reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of Scouting Grounds, where Scouting Grounds, I think, at least had 4 teams going, and like the teams that sponsored or connected to the Scouting Ground teams were more involved, and I don't know. It just feels like that should be the bare minimum.
Yeah, Scouting Grounds was 20 players split into 4 teams, but each team had like a couple staff from other teams. And like even then, like it was funny hearing coaches talk about other coaches afterwards. Like it's just one of those things where like the immediate value is not like, oh, the viewership wasn't great on Scouting Grounds or something. It's like, okay, that's fine. That's not what the point was.
Yeah. I know I've recently discovered or been informed that a long time ago when I said I don't think that the point of NACL should be viewership, it angered a lot of NACL viewers or, I don't know, community people or whatever, folks that work in that space. But I stand by what I say, which is like, I agree with Avril. People should go watch Game Changers this weekend. I also don't want that to ever be the point of a program is viewership, because I think it's really easy then for Riot to be like, oh, well, people aren't watching this, so we're going to go. And it's like, no. These things aren't about that. NACL is not about that. It's about developing and building talent and growing folks. Like that should be primary mission and what should be going on. And I don't know. It's just frustrating.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I saw some. It's like when we say we shouldn't care about the viewership, we mean not that you shouldn't care about the product, but just like it shouldn't be the stick by which is being measured.
Optimize for development.
Yeah.
Not viewership. And for the experience of the people competing in it. So, all right. Anyway.
Alrighty.
Let's get into the second part of the show, which is when we're going to be talking about Worlds. So, one, I just want to make sure there's no news that hit this week. I didn't really catch anything. It's been like a ghost town lately, I feel like. I guess we had the Disguised Toast Invitational. That was kind of cool. I don't think there's too much to talk about coming out of it, but it was pretty fun to see some of these old players still got it. I saw Perry
Revenge
did
and
AMA.
Danny arguing was fucking hilarious.
Shifter?
That alone made, the Shifter and Revenge argument was alone worth it. It makes me, miss those kinds of interactions that you would just get between pros. And I know, Shifter not the pro anymore, but like back in the day, you would just see that all the time in season 1 and 2, and even like a little bit of 3, where just like teammates just argue on stream for no reason. You're like, all right, cool.
Oh, the EMENES drama happened, which is kind of talking about Worlds. Well, here's the thing. So it's so like, one, I want to say what EMENES said, not acceptable. I don't want people to say that it's to try to like say it's not a big deal or something like that. That being, setting that aside, it is funny to me that going in, I don't know how much you visit the team subreddits, dude. After the finals, the Cloud9 subreddit had just been like So JoJo's joining C9, right? Well, we got to get JoJo. They had just moved on.
JoJo.
And they're like obsessed with JoJo. And then this EMENES thing happened. And I feel like there are now Cloud9 fans that are like, so this guy's going to get banned, right? Because we got to go get an emergency sub, right? Like, oh, I wonder if JoJo, and then JoJo memes that did you see his like shit post?
Expect the unexpected. Or
well,
whatever.
he did that, but he also said it landed in Korea. But then people realized that the picture he used was from like an article from like 8 months ago. So I think,
fuck.
I don't know. I know a lot of people want to talk about the EMENES thing, so maybe we, if you see a call that you think is worth it, but I don't know.
It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I want to touch that because, yeah.
Yeah, it's up to you. But I don't know. It's just so goofy. For those who don't know what the EMENES drama is, because I realize a lot of people don't just habitually stare at Reddit all day. EMENES was told a European streamer, I think the line was "go back to your country" or something along those lines, and then I believe the translation of what he said afterwards on social media was something along the lines of like, "Oh, this person was terrorizing me in game," or something like that, and was trying to say that he did not mean to be racist or something. But yeah, it was.
Yeah. And I mean, the person that he was complaining about is apparently a very nice person generally. And like VOD wise, I don't think there was very much to be like, he was arguing EMENES versus like EMENES was just being EMENES.
Toxic. Yeah.
Just being himself.
Yeah. So, all right. But other than that, I think we can talk a little bit about Worlds, to get some of the Worlds takes in and do all the fun stuff that we talk about all the time as we head into this. You seeing any takes that are good yet, Mark?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I noticed that the waiting room is empty.
I've been bouncing between...
I've been stalling here trying to talk about this.
So I
thing
spammed Discord with the link, but I didn't get a chance to spiel. So I was still kind of waiting for spieling time. But if you go ahead and join the Discord, we are now repolling topics for specifically Worlds-related takes. So go ahead and post those if you want to.
Yeah.
So here's some news that actually did come out. They announced the format officially, and I don't know if it was changed or if the initial article was just not very good with its wording, but we do know that there is seeding somewhat for round one. You can still debate it because it is using the old pooling format for what pools people put into. So, like JDG is apparently worse than NRG. Like, okay. I don't think that's true.
I believe it. Do you not believe it?
Yeah, I don't know about that one, guys. But like,
dude, did you watch those finals?
Yeah, I mean, so it's not perfect still, but at least it's more than just you can't play your own region in round one. It is now there's actually like some level of seeding, and so it's slightly better. It's not perfect, but that was an announcement. I don't think there's much to talk about other than just like thank God. But
yep. So Mark is pulling takes from Subtopics and Pleb Topics channels. We will get some stuff in. We'll talk about it. And then, yeah, I need to figure out, Mark and I guess, never actually finalized if we will not be able to get a show in before plans. Because theoretically,
there's a good chance we can, as long as I'm literally not on the flight, and even then we can maybe do after I land. But like,
yes.
I think we can figure something out.
Yeah, because I think the 9th is the day before. And
I think
also,
we're missing a lot of our Worlds audience for this episode because it's just like, oh, this is the Worlds episode, and people.
Well, yeah, it's the dead zone. Nope, nobody's paying attention to League of Legends right now because there's virtually no competitive play going on. Just guys toast and Gamechangers, notwithstanding.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we will get some takes. You had somebody in the waiting room, but now they're gone.
What I put multiple people in the waiting room. They keep leaving.
I
put like
know.
three. I legit put 3 or 4 people in the waiting. What are you fuckers doing?
I'm just continually stalling for Mark because I'm like, okay,
moved 2 to 3 people in there, and
we
then they all
gotta do
left
this.
and went back to pleb calls.
They're trolling them. It's not me, I promise. That would be a very funny prank, is just to keep moving them out. But
oh my god, you just keep moving my calls out and be like, Mark, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Where are the people?
Mark, we need to do the show. Hey, actually, I know what we can do. We can do an Alienware ad. Shout out to
Do an
Alienware.
ad while I fucking get these people back in.
Okay, so they just sent me the R16 I unboxed it. We're gonna have some footage of it going up on social and in the outros of my videos soon. But go check out the R16. This thing is awesome. I really like the form factor. It is super sleek. It is definitely a little. I mean, it's still super cool like their other Auroras before, but you can go. You got to go see this thing. In fact, you can see it at alienware.com/Travis. So Alienware sponsors the show. Obviously, we really appreciate them doing that. But it's super cool to be able to get this. Also, Mark somehow broke his previous Alienware headset. I don't think it was
Should I show it?
I don't think it. No, don't show it. But I don't think it was the build quality. I think it's probably something to do with his cats or him.
No. It's
raging.
me putting it in my backpack. I would put it in my backpack without like really being careful, and then I would just like throw my backpack around. And so it was actually a very durable headset when not in a backpack. And I think I began to overestimate the durability of like, oh yeah, I can put like 30 pounds on top of my headset now, like no big deal, or 40 pounds.
Yeah, Mark was limit testing it day and day and day, and so he it was very nice of them. They sent us another one because Mark's borrowing mine right now. But yeah,
and to be fair, the way I broke it, it still actually plays sound. It's just like it kind of came off. So
okay, I don't need any more details.
I'm just saying, technically, it still works. Despite I broke it, but it's still functional, which is impressive.
Anyway, they make amazing peripherals too. Go check out their accessories because Mark is borrowing my headset right now. I think he has the 720H at the moment, and that's a great headset. But also, we are getting him the 920H too. So. Go check those out, alienware.com/Travis. But also, when you land there, the two main things you're going to see on that page are the R16 and the M16 and M18. Go check it out. In fact, the M18 laptop has the picture of it has a Baldur's Gate ad on it. So there you go. Whoa. It's already made for Mark Zimmerman. So hey, thank you so much to Alienware for sponsoring the show again. Go check out the R16. It's got efficient airflow, quieter acoustics, all without sacrificing performance because it's got that NVIDIA RTX 40 series graphics card line in it. So thanks to Alienware for sponsoring. There's a link in the description if you want to go check it out. Mark is grabbing our next caller. Thank you, Numi, for promoting it. Where are we? There we go. Fez, welcome to the show. Where are you calling from?
Mobile, Alabama.
From Alabama. What do you want to talk about on the show?
So I want to talk about this year's World is more important than any other as far as keeping Western fans interested and involved, because I think plebs and people like yourself, Travis, complaining about all these broken record issues like player retention, local talent, training environment, when the real issue is the West is unable to compete in any real way, which makes watching League fairly boring and predictable.
So, sorry, what's the first part of this again? You're saying right?
So, like, I think keeping like people like the Western audience, interested in League, is becoming more of a problem year after year, because pretty much the pinnacle of our competition is, like I said, boring and predictable, because we either play meta, we don't do anything crazy, and it's just a means to an end. It's the same thing over and over again, and I think that's I've watched in season 2. I think it's just getting fairly boring. So
yeah, I disagree that it's the biggest issue, because dude, like, people can't watch Worlds for most people. Like, we spend so much time talking about the schedule of LCS, where people are frustrated that it's on a Thursday and Friday in the middle of the day, but then everybody acts like we need to make sure that everybody's paying attention to how North America's doing at Worlds, and they got to be more competitive and stuff like that. Whenever 3 times out of 4, this shit's happening at like 3 a.m. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't be beneficial if North America did better, but like, I'm just always confused whenever the main argument is like, oh yeah, like the league's struggling because we can't do well internationally, because, like, again, people don't even watch those games.
I think I'm somewhere in between you two, because I do agree with Fez that for like longer term fans, it's probably a little monotonous when it feels like we haven't had any big Western wins since like 2020.
G2 maybe
Yeah, G2 in 2020 I think won a series against T1 or something. No, 2019 was the great year. 2018 and 2019 were amazing, but I think 2020 that like there was still something good that happened. Yeah, they beat Gen G. Yeah. But I think that's the last time we've like had a big win collectively as the West. I know people hate it when we combine the West, but I just mean, predominantly English-speaking audience. The last time that we had anything to be really excited about was 2020, which was, at this point, like 5 tournaments ago. And I do think that that's got to be one of the worst stretches we've had, because even in like 2015, we have people going to semis. TSM 06 is sad, but that's like individually sad for TSM fans. Other things were happening during that time period. My point with this is like nothing has happened for anyone to be excited about for a period of time, despite like the fact that it is, like Fnatic, Origin, H2K all had semi runs during that time. C9 would get out and do some like almost win a best of 5. They'd be close games. We have World MSI finals for CLG. A team gets out. There's the semis run for C9 in 2018. MSI for Team Liquid in 2019. Like there were things happening, and it just feels like it's been years since anything noteworthy has happened. And for me, that's where I can agree with Fez, where this does feel like probably one of the worst dry spells we've had, and why it is important to not like let this monotony kind of sink in, where like, oh boy, who gives a fuck? We just lose again. Great, sounds fun. So I agree there. I still agree with Travis that like both the inability to watch the regular season being changed to weekdays being difficult for a lot of North American fans, as well as international tournaments other than Worlds last year never being at a good time zone for us. But like, I feel like people would at least be more excited if something happened.
No, obviously it would be. And like it's not I think people try to pigeonhole my feelings on this topic into some sort of weird false dichotomy where it's like Travis is saying international results don't matter at all. And I'm not saying that. I just think that they are not the be all end all. Like Fez seems to think, because Fez literally said I was a pleb at the start of this take, and I disagree with Fez on that.
Factual statements.
I am no pleb. I'm in the on-air topics channel. All right, that's not the pleb topics channel. It's not even the subtopics channel.
You get sucked in. You get sucked into their circle.
So, okay, what would you like to see? Because Fez, it sounds like you're saying this is like a Riot problem. What would you like to see Riot do differently? How should they solve this?
See, like, I know I watched I don't know if it was last week's show or the week before. You guys were talking about all kinds of solutions and taking calls, but I mean, and I'm really sad about, was it Champions Queue failing with the pros or whatever?
Yeah.
But there just has to be more opportunity either for younger talent, like younger NA talent, to compete over where competitive regions are, or for just more tournaments. I mean, it's just so difficult to even come up with a solution, because it's, like I said, it's just boring for a player, or not a player, but a fan like myself to watch League anymore, because it's just the same thing. Like JoJo is the most exciting thing that's happened, and I don't even like him as a fan. He's really annoying in my view, but he's interesting whether you love or hate him, and that's the most interesting thing going on for NA right now.
Yeah. You are a person who cares a lot about the international side. Like, there's so little international game time compared to like domestic. You don't get excited at all about like who's going to win summer finals, or is there anything Riot could do to make you care more about the domestic side of the League of Legends competition in North America?
Well, I think it's personalities, like you said, more relatability to players. I think it was easy back in, some of the older players because of Twitch, or all the reasons you guys listed in the past, but there's just no connection. I think you're spot on with that as far as the argument goes.
Yeah. Well, Mark, any final thoughts before I give our caller the shout out?
No, I just think to the point about aspirational stuff that we were talking about before, I think it would be inspiring to see a good run out of an NA team. We need our Boostio. Where's our Boostio?
Yeah. Yeah, of course that would be great, guys. Like I just don't. Okay, cool. Also, you know what would be great is if I had 5 sponsors that were all clamoring to send me to Worlds. But I don't. I feel like it's weird to bemoan something that has not happened and is statistically less likely to happen. And that none of us have any control over.
If it happens, you might get them back though.
The sponsors?
Yeah.
I don't think they're not. It's not like they're not coming to Worlds because they're like North America sucks. They're not coming to Worlds for weird reasons like the economy or because of the time zone.
You don't have enough viewership because the players that you're caring about covering, suck, and no one cares about them.
No, I don't think it's that. But sure, when you shit post like that on the show, people believe you, and then I go see the shit on the YouTube comments, and I have to go make a whole nother video explaining how that's not the case.
I'm not causing those. I am predicting them. There's a difference.
You're encouraging them. Okay. Fez, thank you so much for the call. Anything you want to shout out before we go on to the next caller?
Nope. Thank you guys for keeping it going. I appreciate it. It's still entertaining for me, at least, you guys. So.
Very good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Catch you later. All right. Mark is off to grab the next caller. Thank you to... Where are we? Oh, we got a bunch of subs. Smile Diligently, Jeb911, Frogman, Pete Monster, Shonatonin, Fishsticks, Jaffe, Shavul, and Warden Winter. I'm going to stick around and stream a little bit after this show, by the way, for those that are watching live. So, Figment is here. Figment, where are you calling from?
Washington, Illinois.
Washington, where?
Washington, Illinois. It's
Washington, Illinois.
Washington, D.C.? State
No.
Washington? What is this?
No, Illinois is the state. It's just a tiny town.
Okay.
Huh.
And you don't pronounce the S, right?
No, I do. I don't know. Maybe some old folks. In town
It's
work
French,
with me.
Travis. It's Illinois.
I thought, no, but it sounded like Figment was saying Illinois. But I've only ever heard
not
Illinois.
That S. No, not that S. That's terrible.
Okay, sounded like I heard the S. What do you want to talk
Illinois.
about on the show?
Washington.
I wanted to get on today and talk about TL being our best team at Worlds this year.
Okay.
Specifically best of ones, and is how some of Swiss is going to be done. And we know just how good of an early game team they are, and how dominant they're going to be at that part of Worlds.
And can you speak up a little bit? I got you at 200%.
Oh,
but
yeah, I'm sorry. How's it now? I'll just speak it up a little bit.
No, well, you start a sentence strong and then you fade it out towards the end, and so
He's
it's
saying that because of Swiss and best of ones, Team Liquid's going to be the best representative for North America. Suck it, Jack in chat. That's what he said.
Is Jack in chat? Oh, he is in chat.
Jack's in chat. I presume because EMENES put out his apology tweet, and Jack is like, "Ooh, are they reacting to it?"
Okay, fine. We'll react to it after this call. So Figment thinks that TL's the best, and they're gonna win. So, yeah, what do you expect out of TL at this event, Figment?
I expect them to get to the third stage,
The third stage,
the knockout stage.
the knockout stage. Okay, so they'll escape Swiss. You're saying?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, Swiss is still like there's no knockout stage, right? Because you can get knocked out during Swiss. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, but
right?
he means like this
Yes.
is groups now, and
The-
you previously called
the bracket.
play knockout. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the terminology's all over the place.
Yeah. All right. Whatever. So you expect them to do that well. Mark, are you more hyped for... Is it time to reveal your true feelings about energy yet?
No, we're talking about Team Liquid.
Okay. Well, it's Team Liquid in comparison to the other North American teams, so
Yeah.
I won't expose you yet.
Well, we won't expose me yet. I will say what's interesting about this one is that the third seed from North America, this is the first time in the existence of forever, basically, that they don't play in the play-ins. Play-ins used to be the third seed for us in usually Europe, playing to make it to the main stage. But there's not that ramp-up time anymore for teams like a Team Liquid. Only the fourth seed, which will have to beat Europe in the World Qualifying Series, will play in play-ins. So that's something that I think sometimes helped a lot of those teams, Cloud9, Team Liquid, these teams that kind of like get some of the, mistakes ironed out during that stage are gone. So I think this time it's worth noting. I think for Team Liquid, yeah, they are really good in best of ones, but you still need to win a best of 3 to actually promote out or get eliminated. All the elimination or promotion series are best of 3s. So I think that it's pretty unlikely that Team Liquid's going to promote out. Will they do the best of North American teams? I don't know. I mean, Jack's here in chat. I swear this is not pandering, and I know that the Energy fans are going to hate this, but like, I still think that C9 is better. Is probably the best team in North America. I think.
Wait, but they didn't even win finals, Mark.
I know.
What are you trying to say about NRG?
Upsets happen. I don't know. Listen, I think Energy are really, really good. This is not a shot at NRG, because I think NRG can absolutely, when they hit their highs, play incredible League of Legends. And I really like NRG's aggressiveness. I like their unique drafts. I think that they actually have a better chance than Team Liquid. You know, as much as this call started with Team Liquid, I still think Energy is better than Team Liquid. And I think like on the right day, especially in best of ones, they can pull off an upset. But even in best of threes, you know, like with a creative draft or two, I actually still have faith that like Energy can maybe do something crazy. I think the thing is, like, yes, Energy won this series pretty convincingly, but they also got beaten by C9 very hard also in the LCS studio. So like both can happen. And I think there's a longer history of the success of C9 playing well. That's mostly it.
The NRG hater now, everyone?
It's always been me.
Yeah, that's actually both of us, because I agree with you. But
well, when Palafox was on, didn't I tell him that I don't think I predicted him a single time in playoffs?
No, you did, but you were. I mean, it was easy for you to say that because you were memeing on all your predictions every time, right? Or no?
Yeah, well,
you
all
were
my predictions said
yes.
NRG.
Yes.
Yeah. But I actually never predicted them.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like we were still huffing the NRG win at that time, and. Yeah.
But like it's not that I think that they're not, like, to be clear, this is not me saying they're not good. I do think that they are legitimately second best team in North America. I think that they overtook Golden Guardians. I think that individually they stepped up a lot. Like Dokla played better. Ignar has been very good for them. I really like the team. I just think that, you know, it's sports. This is what makes sports cool, is that like the team that you think is better loses. But like that doesn't necessarily mean that like, oh, this is definitive proof that this team's always going to be better now in every series that they play against each other or in other competitions. You know, like, that's not my perspective on sports, and I don't think it's the right one. I'm a fucking Patriots fan, all right? 18-1, okay? I don't give a fuck about helmet catch. That doesn't make you a better player. It means you had fucking God on your side that day. I don't care.
All right, Jet, let's keep the traditional sports references.
Yeah, my bad. No one knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know. All right.
If I can add, actually, I'm sorry, is that okay?
What's that?
Yeah, go for it.
So to add, I do think that the chink in the TL armor is the solo lanes, right? Summit scares me a bit, honestly, and APA is definitely. So the format is going to be 3 versus 1 at the beginning, right? So we have like Billy Gaming and others. I'm sorry, my computer.
What?
Anyway,
What's that last bit?
So the format, right? So if the 3rd seed is going to place the 2nd seed at the very beginning, right, of the Swiss.
Not necessarily. Well, I mean, I think so. Seed pool 1 plays pool 4, pool 2 plays pool 3. I think actually, yeah, maybe you're right.
So I just I'm looking at the 2 seeds, and actually, I'm not very worried about the 2 seeds. You know, Bin versus Summit, that'll be just a fun one to watch, but it can go back and forth. And Yagao, I don't know if he can really do much against APA. I mean, I realize APA is rookie. He's got a lot of question marks in the air, but he also has a lot of safe picks, and I trust him.
Oh boy, listen, I like APA. Don't get me wrong, but like there's levels. Like a mid laning, like Yagao's laning is not bad in objective sense. It's like overshadowed by the best laners in the world. in the LPL. But like, there's levels. Like, there's levels to that.
Well, I think TL has pretty high highs and pretty low lows. If you told me that they went through and they just stomped people at Worlds this year, I'd believe. If you told me they show up and they just get like wrecked, I would believe. I know I'm gonna get just, you know, Marcus to be like, oh, waiting to pick a side, me. But like, I have no fucking clue what to expect out of that team. I mean, they spent most of the year sucking, and then they got it together at the end, mostly. I don't know what like half a year, which is what it feels like between the last time they played and the start of their first game is going to do to them, especially with all the boot camp and stuff in Korea.
I think it's just it's tough because it is like best of ones initially, but then you can, you know, get to the best of 3 stage, and I think, you know, maybe they can make some noise. They like, could they beat Fnatic? Sure, you know, like I could see them winning initially, and then who knows who promotes up into them else and what else is going on. You know, like it's going to be really hard to predict Swiss, I feel like, because you don't know like the path that these teams are going to take. Whereas at least like in group stage, I know the 3 teams that they're playing against. So it's very easy for me to be like, oh yeah, I think they just need to burger flip one of these, and then they're better than, I don't know, Flying Oysters or something. And then I expect them to actually get out if they can win that burger flip, you know, like, but this is so much harder because it's like, okay, they could play literally every single team in this tournament, which I will say is really cool. It is really, really cool. But I just mean, like, it makes it so hard for me to be like, oh yeah, because unless they super luck out, I don't see Team Liquid breaking through into the top 8. I don't think they are one of the 8 best teams in this event.
I will agree with you on that. I just think, you know what? How let me ask you this: how shocked would you be if they did make it to the top 8? Like, would you be like, oh my god, they did it?
You want to know my honest to god take? They would be the most surprising NA team for me to do that. I would have even more faith in Golden Guardians at this point, you know?
Ouch.
You don't think Team Liquid has higher highs, like, oh god, I hate to use this word, potential than Golden Guardians?
No. I think Golden Guardians, I think Gory kind of played like dog water in playoffs. I don't know what happened to him. And like River was more muted than usual. If they play at their playoffs level, yes, Team Liquid is better. But I am hoping that doesn't happen. And if that doesn't happen, then I think Golden Guardians is better.
Yeah. All right.
Like the GG at MSI, like people are saying, is like pretty good, you know? Are they good enough to get out? I don't know, but I think they're better than Team Liquid. And to your point about like, ooh, we've only seen this Team Liquid for a couple months and they spent most of the year sucking. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm scared of them.
Yeah. You know what? That's fair. Figment,
what's your power ranking of NA teams, Travis, since you made me do it? I said C9, NRG, Team Liquid, Golden Guardians.
C9, NRG. You know what's funny is before you just went on that rant, I probably would have said Team Liquid, Golden Guardians, but I think you swayed me, so now I would say C9, NRG, Golden Guardians, Team Liquid.
C9, NRG, Golden Guardians, Team Liquid. Yeah. I think I'm the same as you.
Oh, I thought you said the opposite.
Look at you trying to toss shade at me like I'm the NRG hater when you did the exact same thing.
No, I did it because I was always called the NRG hater, and then people shit on me when they won. But all along, I knew you agreed with me on all of it, and so I was just taking all the heat. And I'm like, no, you got to burn down here with me.
Well, that's also because at the start of the year, I was more positive on NRG than you.
Yes, we're both NRG haters. Kiki's Deli is correct in the Twitch chat.
Well, I'm marginally, but you are a bigger hater. Like there's levels. Again, there's levels. You are
equally an NRG hater, in my opinion.
I put NRG higher than most people in our preseason predictions for Summer Split.
Yeah, and where did that video go?
Them to lose every playoff series.
Where was that video posted? Whose name was underneath that MP4 on YouTube?
You probably hated the fact
so we're right there together.
You probably hated it that you had to upload it, and then on the shows you thought they sucked.
To be clear, I think you uploaded it. Figment, thank you so much for the call. Anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, I wanna absolutely shout out Alienware. They're the best sponsor that's ever happened to the League of Legends scene, specifically NA. And you guys for putting on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I got to clip all these. They're great. All right. Off Mark goes to get the next caller. Thank you to I'm Elvis4 for 60 months and Andros for a whole year and Silverblood for the Prime. Thank you.
Are we? Sorry, I pulled the caller. Are we reacting to the EMENES?
Oh, yeah, we should do that. Okay, so
You get to hang out for a second. Sorry about that.
EMENES tweeted, "Hello, I'm EMENES, professional gamer from Cloud9. Thanks for the context. I would like to deeply apologize to the fans for making inappropriate remarks in a solo rank game around September 14th. My actions were inexcusable, and I recognize the impact my words have in-game. I would like to publicly apologize to Spearshot as well. We spoke in private, but he deserves to hear it here as well. As a player for an American team, Canadians going to hate this apology. I showed an irresponsible image that was unprofessional. Learning from this incident, so I will take more responsibility for my words and actions and show you a more developed appearance."
So the current prevailing sentiment that I'm seeing in Twitch chat is that someone else wrote this for him. I think maybe parts, but I also don't think any PR person worth their salt would start with, "Hello, I'm EMENES, professional gamer from
Yeah,
Cloud9."
anybody who thinks that.
Like, only a gamer would write that.
Yeah, and they were and also as a player for an American team. I'm sure that they were like, "Hey, you need to go apologize and say you're going to do better." And then he probably wrote that. But the idea that like this is a PR statement is fucking hilarious to me.
Yeah, I'm sure this was originally in Korean. I'm sure people helped work it out a little bit with him, but like I just like there's some things in here that like I don't think the PR team would make him do.
When I see
like,
Cricket say 100% is Chat GPT, I'm like,
wait, let's solve this.
do people actually believe it? It's not Chat GPT.
I'm going to Chat GPT and I'm going to say I need an apology.
I just
Hello, right.
People actually think that people are Chat GPTing their apologies these days.
Hold on, I gotta. It's been a while since I've done some prompt engineering here, so we'll see how this goes. I'll do even GPT-4, and I'll put the big bucks behind this one.
Yeah, great. Oh, it costs you money?
Well, you have to you only get so many per hour or something. I am C9 mid laner EMENES. I need a apology. Hey, you fill time while I do this.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Twitch chat. Like, Rudy says, Travis, if my students chat GPT their homework, then they can definitely chat GPT their Twitter apologies. Yeah, but like, that's not. People are not. I just don't think that's what's
We're not
happening.
doubting the capability of it, guys. We're just saying that, like...
Yeah, somebody could do it. I don't think that this is a Chat GPT apology. And, I don't know. Like, this is not like a giant essay. It's just 2.5 tweets. Like, it's the most basic thing ever. Nobody would be saying, wow, this reads like AI if this was tweeted 2 years ago. They would just be like, okay, yeah, this is, my take on this apology is it's the apology he needed to make happen, and what he did was wrong. What?
I sincerely apologize to Spearshot and the entire LoL community. My in-game behavior and xenophobic marks were unacceptable and against the values I strive to uphold. I deeply regret my actions, and I'll be working to better myself both in-game and out-of-game. Hashtag accountability. Hashtag respect.
Yeah, guys, this tweet does not read like that. It was not an AI tweet. That would have been a better worded tweet, I agree, but whatever. Like that, the authenticity of this is probably better.
Yeah, I think it's also worth noting that like this is worse than the Chat GPT in like a structural sense. You know,
right.
Like I don't think there's any like the other one was like more authentic. I think the Chat GPT one is actually less authentic in a lot of ways, but like. This is authentic to me because it's kind of badly
Dude, PR
formatted.
response is now just like what everybody auto says. Like that's the auto reply to an apology now, because I don't know how this could be considered that. All right, whatever. Anyway.
The final thing is Jack says, when I read it, I wanted to rewrite it, lol. Yeah.
He's like, but then I just copied it straight out of Chat GPT and sent it to EMENES on Discord and said, tweet this. Just kidding. He did not say that. All right. Here's my take on the apology. I think it's the generic apology you make after you do something like this. I think what matters is how he behaves going forward. I realize he had a bad track record in Europe. It appears that he slipped up, at least here. Hopefully he understands that he can't do that, because I think obviously if he does this again, it's not good. And other than that, probably does not matter because C9 can't keep mid laners, so he will probably not be playing in LCS next year. All right. Our caller's here. Caller, what's your name and where are you from?
What up, boys? My name is Ryan, but my name on here is Simmz. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee, as you can tell from my K-Cone ass accent, but it's where I was born and raised, dude. Like, I can't help it.
Very good.
it.
Well, do you know a man named Captain No. Okay, so what do you want to talk about on the show?
So let's take a trip back to 2018 Worlds, where life as a Western fan was incredible. And Mark kind of talked about this a little bit. With
Dude,
one of the
2018 was
callers
one of the best years of my life, so let's do it.
Oh, my God.
I'm ready.
2018 was insane.
I was much happier back then.
You know, Cloud9, 3-0, Africa, man, we're in semis. Fnatic beat whoever the hell they beat. I don't even remember. G2 beats RNG. Everybody's losing their mind. The West is back, baby. Or not back, I guess. We just arrived. We obviously lose, but whatever. You know, I'm happy for Europe. Let's go. And then they lose. But, you know, the West, as I felt, it felt like a brotherhood. You know, like we all kind of rooted for each other. And then 2019 comes. You know, I'm a huge Double F fanboy. Shout out DL. Team Liquid beats IG, and then we proceed to get shit stomped by G2. But G2 just, you know, was G2
NA finals.
Yes,
Or sorry,
yes,
NA EU
international
finals. Yeah, Western finals, yeah.
Yeah, so G2 was just really good that year. You know, they deserved that win. But ever since then, I have lost this feeling of brotherhood with the West. And let me explain why. I feel like Europe right now, so it's like the two popular football players that are like the talk of the town are LPL and Korea, you know, kind of basically the same. And then there's Europe and NA. And now Europe is like the friend that's a little bit more popular than NA, but they act like they're LCK and LPL, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I like watching the LEC, but I feel like I see them shit talk NA all the time on LEC. Like, it'll be out of nowhere. Like, they'll be interviewing, I don't know, Wonder for a game that they just won. And they'll just suddenly be like, and you know, Golden Guardians made top 2 in North America. What do you think about that? It's like, obviously he's going to say some bantery shit. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, I grew up in sports. I'm a big banter guy. But it just feels like Europe thinks that they're better than they are. Because, Mark, you've said this a lot this year. Not necessarily on the broadcast, but, like, in Hotline League. Like, they're not that much better than us, are they? Like, I feel like they really don't go much further than we ever do. So what do y'all think? Like, am I just being a salty NA fanboy? Because I am a salty NA fanboy. But, like, what's y'all's opinion? Is Europe, like, talking too much shit? Or
I mean, they always talk
is it
too
all
much
just
shit.
friendly? That's true.
Well,
I like Mark referenced this earlier whenever we were talking about the West, and Mark's like, I think people don't like to hear it when we say the West, and it's not actually people, it's Europe that doesn't like it when we say the West, because they're like, no, don't lump us in with North America. I think EU and NA are going to suck equally this year at Worlds. That's my hot take. Mark, what do you think?
I think some of this is karma for Travis and I and other NA people shit talking Europe quite a bit in 2016 and 2017. When we had Kelby on the show and stuff like that, we were pretty dismissive of Europe. Not necessarily that we were like a better region than them, but that we were more entertaining. There was quite a viewership discrepancy in our favor then. And we were maybe not the sorest winners or the least sore. I don't know. We were not gracious winners. And part of that's coming back to bite us. And you know what? Fair enough. On the competitive front, I'm with you, man. Like, what have you guys done recently, really? Like, you got a bug to get out of groups last year. Congrats. That's sick. That's incredible. I love it. That's just, you know, like, okay. C9 had FPX collapse to get out, and then we beat Rogue's ass to get out. Like, fair enough. Good stuff. Who cares? 1647. I can say that. We're both dog water, and it's a race to the bottom right here. So strap in.
You damn right. That's exactly what I think. It's like, brother, we both suck. Like, we're both gonna get ass blasted by the East. Like, we should just be like friends about it, But it is what it is. Like I said, I will say that I didn't start following League until it was like 2016 going into 2017 is when I first got into the game, and I didn't really start watching competitive until like the Worlds of 2017. So I can admit that I didn't know much of the history before that. But my opinion is just from 2018 to now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm super pro, like you said, banter and regional rivalry. So like, I don't mind people like shit talking. It's just when it's like actually reality distortion field that I'm like, come on, guys. So I'm for all of us getting a 1647 chant going, making it our Brazil 7-1. That people do. Like, I want to push that as hard as we can. I bring it up in cast all the time. Anytime that there's a fast game in NA cast, I'm always like, wow, they're playing so good. This just makes me wonder, how the fuck did Mad Lions lose in 1647? It's so easy to work in, and I'm going to keep doing it and fueling these flames.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely gave us enough 06, from the TSM year, so I feel like, we have a right for the 1647 right now.
Yeah. And they shit on us last year with G2 beating EG. Like, what was it? They were like 9-1 against them or something.
Yeah,
I forget what it was, but it was disgusting.
Mark, do you think this is going to be the thing where we have this banter and we laugh about stuff now, and then like when EU beats us at Worlds this year, or they do better than us, we're just like, wow, people are being really obnoxious about it? Because we often do that too, where we're like, we get frustrated because people are just like dicks, about the whole thing.
I think for me, it's like, again, what you're trying to, like, if you want to rub it in, EU's better than NA, and I say 1647 and you say TSM 06, or like, good luck getting out of groups. And I'm sure a European team will get out of groups this year because they always do. Like, I fully expect a European team to get out of groups. Who it is it Fnatic? Is it G2? Who can say? Like, I have no problem admitting that kind of stuff, like, logically. And I think that's the difference, is like, you have to be able to take a step back out of the banter. And if you can't do that, then you're just like delusional. And so like the people who are like, the thing that gets me is when we don't get out and they're like, NA is a clown show region. They should be demoted. They shouldn't be a major region. And I'm like, God damn it, Europe. You are like marginally better than us. Like, you saying we shouldn't be a major region just makes you look terrible too. Like, we absolutely booty clap every single minor region when we play them in play-ins, and then you say that like we're so bad. It's like, bro, you did this exact same as us almost. The only difference was like you got a bug to get you out of groups, and then you got shit on there. It's like, what are you saying? So that's where I'm like, you're just making yourself kind of look bad. So
yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, caller. Anything you want to shout out before we go on to the next one?
Yeah, shout out Golden Guardians. So that they got to beat BDS now, or we're gonna get a lot of shit back. Shout out Alienware, obviously, fucking goated computer company. Shout out you guys, man. I've been watching you guys basically since I got in the competitive league. I actually was in St. Louis, and I came up on the Hotline League there and got to give a take.
Nice.
So
nice.
That was pretty sick. But yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate y'all letting me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we see you at another event soon.
Yeah, sounds good. See
you. For example of like good shit posting that I like from Europe, like the near airport stuff, I think is hilarious. I think the anytime there's like America's so fucking free or NA is so free, like I never understood like why they always said that they had more freedom or whatever.
My favorite one is the Twitch copy pasta about like EU is NA is never mind, whatever, just give me another burger or whatever. That one is my favorite EU copy pasta where they're just mocking the copy pasta. Like, it's so meta, you know. It's like you've gone and distorted a copy pasta to mock them in your own copy pasta. It's actually so good.
Yeah, all the pastas I think are great. I love the EU scroll. I fucking love the scroll. I love Euphoria of like the NA fan in bed crying with like the music blasting of Euphoria. Like, there's a lot of those that I really, really like, even though I'm on the receiving end of them.
Yeah. All right. Offmar goes to get our next caller. Thank you to Silverblood, Velociraptors, and then Cozy Coffin. Might be a good time to mention it's September. If you are the type of person who subs for multiple months on this channel, and you're like, hey, I'm going to be subbing to Travis in September, but I'm also going to keep my sub in October to support him during Worlds, and then I'm going to keep my sub in November to support his off-season coverage or whatever, you can save money right now by subbing for multiple months in advance. You can save up to 30%. It's a pretty cool thing they're doing during September. So just trying to save you all some money. But our caller is here. Caller, where are you calling from? And what's your name?
My name's Remixed. I'm calling from Boulder, Colorado.
Remixed. What do you want to talk about in the show?
I had 2 takes, so it's up to Mark. I don't know which one he pulled me for.
Oh, my bad. Let me check quickly. It
Was
was
it about EMENES or about the other thing?
Is the Swiss format. You said something about a Swiss format. It's going to show the strength of NA.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Swiss is like a much better version of what we had at MSI because we have more teams. So I think it kind of gives NA a chance to show that they aren't, a minor region like you guys were just now talking about how EU likes to shit talk us a lot. And even though there's some best of ones in there, we do get a best of 3 regardless of how it goes. So there's no more tiebreaker curses, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, everybody gets a best of 3, which is nice. I like this. I mean, I do. I'm super fascinated to see how this format goes this year. Selfishly, I'm fascinated to see how it goes from a coverage perspective and how I'm going to be able to do interviews and all that stuff. But I'm also just very fascinated to see how it plays out from like a fan perspective, an audience perspective, because I think you might end up with some really exciting moments where, it's all down to this or whatever. I think what often feels bad is like when we just lose out. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but in a Swiss format, there's no way that like you can lose during somebody else's match.
Yeah, you can't lose during someone else's match. You can't have a dead game where you're already eliminated and you're just trolling on stage.
Yeah, because that's always the worst feeling is like North America has this really brilliant way of going and winning a very important match and looking really good, and then just getting disqualified in the next match because
we lose a match we absolutely should have won that was critical for us to get out easily. Then we're on the back foot and we win some match that we have no business winning against like a world favorite team, which puts us in a position to maybe get in or out depending on what happens against this other wildcard team. And then like Europe loses to that team out of nowhere and we get eliminated. And we're like, what the fuck? And it's our own fault. It's our own fault every single time.
Right. But it's also like not enjoyable, right? You want it. I'd rather lose of like watch a team get disqualified from Worlds in their own match than watch them win and get disqualified from Worlds in somebody else's match, specifically a European one. So I really agree with that. I don't know how much it's going to allow us to like really show off or something, but one thing I hope is that we get more NA-EU matches because of this. And I feel like that's pretty likely, Mark, based off of how Swiss works. Am I crazy?
No, I think it's pretty likely. I mean, it really depends on sort of luck of the draw and how well they do. But like assuming that the regional power levels kind of play out, there should be some high stakes like elimination matches between hopefully EU and NA coming up, which I think is always the problem with the Swiss format is like, yeah, we play each other, but they're not like super important games.
The groups format, you mean? Yeah,
in the groups format. Like, for example, C9 played Fnatic last year, right? And like, I think they beat them once, but it didn't fucking matter, because like C9 had gone 0-3 before and we're basically dead already, So even though we went 1-1 in that format with Europe, who gave a shit,
Right. Right.
And that just can't happen here. So if Fnatic and C9 are playing, it still matters at that point, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with this take. I think, I agree with the enjoyment of the format. I'm not sold on, it's going to finally reveal that North America are savants that are just held back from, it was a seed one Korean team or something like that. Yeah. But I'm manipulating your take. I know that's not what you were saying, but I'm not confident that this format is going to be far more favorable to North America, especially because there's less of a chance of upsets in this, but I am excited to see how it plays out.
Let's twist the take a little bit. Let's instead turn into, Travis, what is your group stage prediction in some sense? It can be whatever you want it to be, but Remixt is saying that this Swiss format will show that NA is actually good and will do some good stuff, right? What is your thoughts on something that might happen in the Swiss? I'll give you mine while you think.
Yeah, I'm looking at the website right now to see.
Doesn't have to be competitive. So for me, I'm going to say that this is a really fun tournament bracket that people very quickly get annoyed at some of the problems that could crop up. So even though it's a big improvement from last, the group system, which I think did a lot of things wrong, even in terms of seeding the knockout bracket, when you have 4 teams at number 1 strength, a number 1 seed, it's well, how do you decide who plays who? There were a lot of problems with that. But I think this has better seeding implications. There's a ton of things I think are better about this. But at the end of the day, it's probably going to go wonky because formats always do. And you're going to have I don't know, Billy playing JDG again in fucking second stage after they both win their first matchup. And it's what the fuck? We've seen this a million times. And we know JDG always gets Billy's number. And then Billy loses. And I bet some weird stuff happens and people complain.
Yeah.
But it's still way better.
I'm going to steal that one a little bit and put it this way, which is I think people are going to feel really great during the Swiss stage. And then something will go wrong in the post-Swiss stage, and people will be really salty about a lack of double elimination. And they're going to be oh my God, Riot fixed the group stage, and yet now this still sucks because there's no double elimination. Some team that has a storied run through play-ins ends up getting eliminated in a weird situation to a team that gets eliminated the next series or something. Something goofy happens, specifically around the lack of double elimination. And because there will be such great stories coming out of play-ins, I think that's what people are going to be salty about.
Do you think anything good happens for North America or Europe? Even if we have a more fun road and the games always matter more.
Yes, I think that one of the reasons why people, I've spoken to future Travis, and he sends me messages back sometimes. And one thing that he can't tell me everything because he can't influence too much, but he can give me some hints. And one of the things that he's told me is that there's a really, really exciting match between North America and Europe. And even though both regions really struggled at this event and didn't do very well, the team that wins that amazing match in this elimination best of 3, they're gonna feel like they won something. They're getting the consolation prize going home.
I also think that the road there will be fun. I feel like some NA or European team will during the best of 1s win some important matches against a T1 type, and put them lower than they should be and make them have to work harder to get there. And we'll get that. There's always the week 1 false hope kind of thing that happens. We're going to get some false hope here too, where a team wins a best of 1 early in the Swiss bracket against a team that they shouldn't have beaten.
No. Here's what happens, Mark. Europe, a North American team is doing well, and then a European team knocks down the eventual world champions to face that North American team and shove their face into the ground after a random best of 1 or something. That's what's going to happen, and it's gonna be unfortunate.
Okay, there are predictions for Swiss.
There you go. Thank you so much, caller. Anything you want to shout out before we go on to our last one?
Yeah, you guys for being awesome. I've been a fan since near the beginning, and I really want to shout out Alienware for keeping the dream alive for you, and also the Cradle series by Will White. Read that, please. It's very good. If you like Brandon Sanderson, you'll probably like it.
Very good. Thank you for the call.
Azael's a big fan of that series. if you want someone on the broadcast team to tweet out about it.
Catch you next time. There's a chance that I'm drafting Magic the Gathering with Brandon Sanderson next month. I don't want to get my hopes up, but I've been told there's a good chance it's going to happen. So I'm pretty poggers about that. Mark's going to go grab our last caller. Off he goes. Shout out to all the Twitch subs out there who make my life happen. Really appreciate it. Twitch, there's been enough of you lately, and especially a lot of people who gift a ton, that I've been trying to be more transparent lately on revenue or whatever, and I can say that, like, Twitch subs have been kind of paying my rent lately. September's looking a little more empty, but it's been fine. Promiscuous Time Traveler is here. Don't get any ideas, but where are you calling from?
Temecula, California.
Temecula, California? Really?
Yes, yeah, what's up?
Oh, I've grew up part of my life in Temecula. What do you want to say on the show?
So I kind of want to talk about, because we spend a lot of time kind of criticizing and giving our takes and stuff, but we have a pretty big media personality and an actual LCS broadcaster. What kind of like influence do you guys have? Like, what kind of creative pull do you have with like Riot Creative? And like what's your sphere of influence? Who can you talk to get like things changed?
Oh, so you're asking, this is fascinating. First time we've ever had this. So you're asking what do Mark and I think we can actually influence on a, I guess, LCS level? Or I assume you mean within like the LCS ecosystem.
Absolutely. Yeah. With your sphere of influence, who you talk to, what kind of pull you have backstage, because it is a production.
You're saying backstage, and so you just mean overall, right? You said overall, creative.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Overall. Like if Travis, if you hated the way some format was done, like, could you actually get anything done about it? You get in the person's ear, you yap a little bit.
So I think a lot of people, Mark included, partially blame me for having LCS at 2 this past year. Because what happened was this. And the story's gotten twisted now to say that I like redid an interview because Riot didn't like it. But I've been clear on how this went down. But just to reiterate, at the beginning of this year, after there was all this hullabaloo about the schedule, I did an interview with John and Nas, who don't talk to me anymore, but where I like really pushed them on why is it at 12? Like 12 doesn't make sense. You've got people on the East Coast who it's 3 o'clock over there, like they're still working, and you're making almost the entirety of the show like for a West Coast viewer just during working hours. This is really bad. And I just brought it up and pointed all these things out and, really pushed them on it. And later that night, I think it was that night or the day after or something like that, I got a message that was like, hey, John and Nas decided that they're going to change it to 2. And I talked to them the next day and they were like, yeah, we like both felt really shitty coming out of that interview and felt like we were making the wrong decision or whatever. So I think they now walk that back because John even alluded to the idea that he thought maybe they should do 12. And there's somebody else who hosts the show with me who I think thinks that they should have done 12. But I guess my video is stuttering. That's weird.
You're good.
But I think that's one example. And I the other thing is I think sometimes I go and sort of tell people like, hey, what's the deal with this? Because I'm thinking about making a video about it. And sometimes I think that just sort of the concern of me making a video about it influences it. I won't say when, and I won't say which executive, but one point in time, a C-level executive messaged me after I made a big video complaining about something Riot did and said, hey, thanks for holding us accountable. You're 100% right.
Wow.
And so I do, I am lucky enough to have like Riot executives on the leadership team that watch some of my videos, especially the ones that kind of break out. So I have some sphere of influence, but obviously there's a lot of opinions I have about things that don't get changed. So clearly not a ton of it. But Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Travis vastly overstates his own value.
Oh, good. So you don't blame me for the 2 o'clock thing, huh?
No.
Good.
I think,
I'm glad to know that I'm finally off the hook after all those walks that we've gone on.
I've told you this to your face, that I feel like they were somewhat in touch with the conversation that was going on with the Reddit community, because it wasn't like you were the only one who had this opinion.
Yeah.
And I think it was them finally having to commit verbally to some of the decisions. You know, like they had made the changes, but now that they were going to, you know, be on record publicly doing it is what made them reevaluate. I don't know if Travis destroyed them with facts and logic and made them see the light versus like just the process of being in the room with him and being challenged
I think
a little bit. Did it?
I don't think that, but I do think I'm in the rare position of being able to hold people accountable. There are other personalities that complain, but those personalities I think are they are so far on the like Riot fucking sucks and are terrible people and everyone there is terrible that like people don't take them seriously. Whereas I've been able to find the line between the community calling me a Riot shill and Riot Games thinking I'm hypercritical.
And when you say people don't take them seriously, you mean like people at Riot are just like, oh, they hate everything I do, so it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Right. Whereas I think there is like a degree of like you kind of need the spoonful of sugar sometimes, and if you're just a hater, or in their eyes just a hater, it's not going to go over well. And I think, so I think big picture things, like I don't think I actually have that much sway over. Like I haven't talked to anyone about this. I think I did a video last year about like I would love a Swiss format, and then like this year there's a Swiss format, and I'm like, I haven't asked anyone if I had anything to do with that. I don't think so. Like I think that's just like giving myself a little bit too much credit. I think the community had been pretty vocal for a while about wanting new Worlds formats and stuff like that, and I think this lined up pretty well. And who knows? I think the things that I know I have an influence on are like when a caller comes on here and points out something we didn't do well on the broadcast, I can take that feedback and directly go to the producers and people. And like it's non-negligible the amount of times internally at meetings where like I bring something up from this show or a Travis interview or whatever, and then someone else does it, just because they were watching that weekend. Like people do watch this content and other people's content as well, and sometimes say like, hey, we saw that like fans think this or something, and it does get implemented sometimes about whether it's it's not always super visible things. Like the flow feels wrong when we do sit down interviews after a commercial break, so we should always do the post game interviews before. It's like it can be pretty minor steaming stuff to fans that we're trying to iron out. It's a lot of show flow things that I feel like I can directly do, or content ideas, or like things like that are kind of directly in my sphere of influence. The bigger things, like we don't like the time change, like I can't get people to do that, but what I can do is take what people are saying and package it and kind of bring it up in meetings. And that's something I do often because of this show. And because I'm on Reddit terminally, I can be like, hey, this week there's been X amount of threads, and I was just on a call with someone who thinks this, that it's in, I at least have some extra weight to throw behind it, that it's not just my opinion. It's like I interface with the community directly more than a lot of people.
You can give usernames because you have like a lifeline to.
I can timestamp things. I can be like, look at this ridiculous conversation,
Absolutely.
So. And I often pull Reddit. I'll be like, internally, I'll be like, hey, look at this like Reddit thread about something that did or did not go over well, kind of thing. And so I don't think I can. It's like a lot of needle moving, I think, on the bigger picture things, where like maybe Travis and I can be a straw that breaks the camel's back, or start getting someone thinking in a new direction. But rarely are we like, do this, and they're like, you're right. That's it.
Yeah, I think Mark is he thought I was overselling myself. I think he's underselling himself a little bit, because I think one area where, and I know he's been hesitant to take too much credit on this, but like I think a huge reason why the LCS broadcast felt totally different this year was because of Mark. And I'm not trying to say that other producers and other talent weren't pushing a lot of changes there, but people don't realize how much work Mark does behind the scenes as a pseudo producer to like create a lot of these segments, and finds, again, there are people internally that are helping him do this stuff, but Mark has been good at finding those partners internally to make sure that like he can get something really cool done for the show. And so and you see that and not just the segments that he's directly done, but I think in just a lot of the shift for how things are going. So I think if Mark left the LCS broadcast, like things would be in a lot more rough of a place. So I agree that he can't like go storm down the door of John Needham and be like, you changed that schedule back again after Travis told you to do it too. But I think he can be like, guys, our broadcast is cringe. How do we uncringe this broadcast or cringe it in the right direction? So, yeah.
Double up on the cringe.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anyway, promiscuous, maybe that answers your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Now I feel super satisfied. You
Yeah.
kind of gave me a little bit of inspiration, man.
You know what? The one other thing I think I do decently is I try to do a good job of calling attention to like issues that the community's feeling that Riot is not paying attention to. So I do think that like last year, whenever I raised a ton of attention around the world's ticketing situation, which was horrendous, I think that got in the ear of a lot of different people at Riot who had not noticed it, and I think that applied a lot more pressure. So sometimes I try to find those opportunities where shit's getting overlooked. Anyway, thanks so much, and we'll catch you next. Oh, did we give you a shout out? What's your shout out?
Yeah, sure, if you want. Let's shout out Alienware, man, for giving our gamer community, I don't know, like a platform to speak our minds. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, I could plug my YouTube channel. I do comic book content, though, but it's just Promiscuous Time Traveler everywhere, if you guys want to check me out. But,
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. Catch you next time.
Bye, Mark. Bye, Travis.
See you.
All right, that is the show. I'm going to stick around on stream for a little bit afterwards, but Mark, what do you want to promote?
Lordy, I'm not doing much right now.
So on next Monday, you are busy at this time.
Yeah, I have family visiting starting Friday through Wednesday this week. So this Friday to next Wednesday.
Okay. Maybe we can try to do some sort of stream on Thursday of next week then, because it would be nice to do something. We can do maybe Baldur's Gate conversation because I'll hopefully have finished the game by then. But yeah.
Maybe. It would have to be either Friday. When you're leaving Friday, right?
No, so I am leaving this Friday to Vegas. The Friday after this one, I am having oral surgery, having
that's right.
some teeth removed, and I'm going to be fucked up for, I guess, a week or so is what I hear. So that is why you will not see my puffy chipmunk face on stream.
Make sure to post it, though.
Okay. Anyway.
Drew, I'll talk to Drew.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Drew's going to be taking care of me.
I would like to do it Thursday. I'm down, but it would have to be like while Ashley's still asleep, or something. Because if she'll get up, it'll be our day off, and I'll probably want to hang.
Okay.
But that's over a week away. So who
when do
knows?
they leave on Wednesday? Could we do Wednesday night?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Then tentatively next week there will be probably something in the middle of the week. It might not be League of Legends related, but maybe Mark and I will do some sort of goofy call-in show about Baldur's Gate or something.
Cool.
But yeah, other than that, I just want to review a couple things. One, I'm going to be at MagicCon in Vegas this coming weekend. I will then, in October, be at Command Fest Portland, which is happening on October 13th to the 15th. I'll be there the 13th and the 14th. And then I'm headed to Korea for Worlds. I'll be there for about 10 days or so. And then I come back and I go to MTG Summit in Salt Lake City. It's October 26th to the 29th. I went last year and it was really fun. Brandon Sanderson's going to be there, some other folks. If you would like to see me, please go to either Vegas this weekend for MagicCon, Portland next month for Command Fest, Worlds next month for Worlds, Korea, I guess, or Salt Lake City for the Magic Summit. Tickets are on sale for all of those events. I guess Worlds is probably sold out, but all the other stuff, tickets are on sale. So Come and hang out and let me know. Go chill on the Magic the Gathering channel on Discord if you see me at any of those events or want to see me at any of those events. That's it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hotline League will be back in 3 weeks. Is it 3 weeks from now?
Who could say?
I think 3 weeks from now, which is crazy. So, bye.